Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into 300 Blackout and see if I can actually become fond of the round by looking at the Honeybadger SBR and the Thunder Chicken can on it. Before we do that, I'm dispensing with musical intros because A, they take too much time, and B, when I see a video that's over 15 minutes, I do not watch it. So I'm just getting rid of that time and that expense. And C, if you see the 1911 Syndicate's most recent video on Cabot left and right guns, it just means that anybody who is trying to make really cool musical intros is behind the curve, so why even try? Plus, things are really busy. Also, all the guns, for most of the guns, are off the wall behind me because I'm heading to NRA, so I'm making this video in a super hurry. If you're at NRA this weekend, come by the Cabot Alchemy booth and say hi. Bring me a soda, bring me a Bang energy drink, do something to help keep me going. However, I know people want to actually see the gun being shot, so here's 10 seconds of me shooting the Honeybadger. Oh God, that gets quiet. I've got some other footage, I'll play that throughout as we're talking. The first thing to talk about on the Q Honeybadger is the fact that it is $2,999 retail. You're seeing them out there in the wild for like $3,400. I know they make an SD version. I think that this is the version to get because that extra rail does not make sense to me. And essentially the can that they put on is just a slimmed down Thunder Chicken or Jumbo Shrimp or Trash Panda or whatever it is. So I don't really see why they added that extra rail length on there, so I'd recommend getting the SBR and then getting whatever can you want and putting on it. But $29.99 is a very expensive price. Do I think it's justified? Sure, if it's, not your first gun, not your second gun, not your third gun, but it is a gun with a very specific purpose. So what is this? It is a PDW, or personal defense weapon, meant for close quarters combat, and basically SOCOM was looking for something to replace the MP5 SD so they could have a lower sound signature but be, getting through body armor and whatnot. Hence, 300 Blackout was born and the original Honeybadger at AAC. Now Kevin has Q and is producing the Honeybadgers. Interestingly enough, SOCOM just started purchasing the SIG MCX Rattler in 300 Blackout and 5.56. So funny to see how this was the gun that was kind of part of that original program, but SIG, being SIG, is getting all that big government money now. When you take the can off, this will slide into almost any normal size backpack JanSport. You don't have to get something with MOLLE rigging all over it and look super tactical. You could fit this inside of a backpack easily. Now, I will say this after shooting it, I've shot it 0 times without a can on it because it's 300 Blackout, you only shoot with a can. I do have another gun with this Cherry Bomb muzzle brake, and this thing sucks, okay? It just sends flash everywhere. I have a Q fix that I took it off, I shot it a couple times, and it was just blowing dirt up everywhere. So the muzzle brake, I get it, is good for adding their suppressor onto it, but shooting it by itself is not a thing that I would ever do, hence I never did it with this. So when you're getting this gun, $2,900 or $3,000, whatever you're gonna spend, really is like the entry price, because you do need to get a can to go along with it, and you're gonna have to spend your unconstitutional $200 tax stamp for the SBR and the can up here. So you're really talking about an entry price right in the mid 4s at an optic, let's call it $5,000, and you have a backpack blaster. But not just a backpack blaster, one with some serious street cred and cool factor. And I'm gonna tell you, this is super, super light. I think it's like five something pounds without the can. With the whole setup here, it ends up being like 6.5 pounds. It is way lighter than my Maxim Defense PDX. Like this is just so much lighter than this PDX, that this PDX, for a number of reasons, is now being sold. So if anyone wants a PDX in 7.62, I've got one that you can take off my hands, and I will be replacing it with this Honeybadger SD because it is light and compact and cool. Starting at the back here, they have their collapsible stock. The one thing I will give the PDX props for over this is the fact that in order to engage this stock, you can't just pull it. You do have to push the button. It is a little bit cumbersome, and then push the button to go back in, and it is only a 1-position stock. Also on this, it has a QD slot right down here. I will be mounting a sling to it, but I will say that it is just as uncomfortable as all PDW stocks when you're getting up there and trying to get your cheek weld, because if you notice right here, my cheek is right on a bar, and after shooting a little bit, I get a red mark right here. Now, PDWs are not guns that you really go out and shoot a lot with. They're meant for close quarters combat. They're meant for your backpack blaster, for the oh shit gun. So it's not something that I would be out there running thousands and thousands of rounds through. But in the couple hundred that I did to film for this, it did make a red mark on my face. Moving forward, we have the 70-degree ambi selector, which does not engage with this Geissele 2-stage trigger on this gun. The new Q most bestest trigger ever, or whatever the marketing is on it, they say it will allow the ambi safety to engage without the gun being cocked, without the hammer being down, but the Geissele does not. It is a 70-degree selector, and Q says that they don't like the 45, which I really like, because it has a tendency to be unreliable if your receiver is not specifically milled for a 45. I've never had a problem with a 45 safety being unreliable, the Radian 90 45s, so maybe it's a solution in search of a problem, but I will say that it's like kind of the worst of both worlds, to where it goes down and still hits your knuckle, which is not that big a deal, but I would have preferred a traditional Radian Raptor 4590. Keeping down here on the lower, like I said, this is the Geissele trigger. This is a fantastic 2-stage trigger. I mean, it weighs in at like, safety off. It weighs in at, God, it's like 3 pounds. The reset is what you'd expect from a Geissele. You do come off the reset and come back on it, so I don't know which Geissele it is, but it is just a fantastic trigger all around. You got a normal ping pong style bolt close. I guess they could have done something cooler there. But what's really nice about the lower is just the way it's been machined. They've got a really nice flared magwell. If you miss this magwell, it's your fault. It's not the magwell's fault at all. And it comes with one OK mag. And I'm going to tell you right now, this mag has been fantastic. Sometimes you have issues with 300 blackout and 5.56 mags. This mag has worked perfectly. It is fed perfectly. I've had no issues with reliability last round hold open or anything with this, but overall the thing just looks really cool. And it comes with the Magpul MOE-K, so K being short, grip, which is fine. Overall, the lower's nice. It's really cool angles, machined well. The clear ano, I think, is an awesome look. Yeah, going on to the upper, bolt carrier. It's a bolt carrier, carries the bolt. Bolt seems to work. Don't have any issues there. There is no forward assist. I know Stoner laughed at forward assists. I will say that I do kind of like having one, especially when I'm, just topping off a mag. Tap that little thing forward, make sure that bolt is seated. But overall, I don't think that's going to be an issue, because like I said, again, this is not like something you're going to be shooting thousands and thousands of rounds through. It's that like backpack blaster, the Noveske Ghetto Blaster, like those kinds of cool compact guns. The charging handle is also clear ano, Radian Raptor with little shortened legs. I guess they made it specifically for Q. It's great. It's worked very, very well. Have had no issues. The handguard is actually really nice and ergonomic. This gun did not heat up as much as I thought it was going to. Once again, I'm shooting 300 blackout and I'm not rich, so I didn't shoot a ton of rounds, but it did not heat up as much as I thought that it was going to in the amount of rounds that I shot. I wore gloves because I was shooting some other guns, but I did take them off and didn't have any issues there. So the handguard is great. It's ergonomic. They got all kinds of weird stuff up here on the gas block. Maybe it's marketing, maybe it's not, but I'll tell you that the gun ran very, very well. It was pretty gassy, but not so much that I'd say, oh, this is more gassy than any other gun. I'd say it's probably normal for a short-barreled, suppressed AR in 300 blackout. Getting up to the front here, I already talked about how crappy the Cherry Bomb is to shoot without a can. This has the Thunder Chicken. I don't know what their cans are or what they all mean. This is just one that was loaned to me by Hush Distribution. Thank you, Kyle over there at Hush. And he actually got me these guns at dealer cost. So I have this one, I have another one, because somebody else wanted one. So I bought 2 of them at dealer cost, paid my own money, and it's very, very cool. So now getting down to 300 blackout and my opinion on it. So I haven't liked 300 blackout in the past because I always thought that 300 blackout was only for shooting subs, okay? And when I got this gun, and I've shot some of the 300 blackout guns before, Shooting supers, I was like, well, why would I spend all this money on 300 blackout when I can get 7.62 and it's going to have very similar performance in short barrels and it's not quite as expensive. It seems like a solution in search of a problem, but I will say that after shooting this gun at 80 yards, I shot supers and then subsonics. The supers, my zero was kind of funky, but my supers were right on the money, maybe a little bit right because my zero, I'm not going to blame that on the gun, but the grouping was really tight at 80 yards. The subs, very, very quiet, but definitely had a lot of drop. This was the 300 blackout supers. These are the subs. So with the zero, kind of fucked up, I need to work on it obviously. Here, this is how much it drops. Subs versus supers. Now I did say, okay, well let's see if I can stretch this out. And I went to 200 yards, unmagnified with this optic. Down to 200. Oh, it skipped off the ground and hit the target. Did you see that? Oh, man. But everything after that, lobbing those rounds, it was just, the rounds would just go out there and die. It was like shooting 45 ACP at 100 yards. Like, you know, that's a lot of elevation you got to add in there. Now, getting back to shooting supers, at 200 yards, I had no problem making hits on 12-inch steel at 200 yards. Okay, that thing hits and it fucking swings that. So, I don't know. Am I 300 blackout believer right now? Not yet. I'm getting there. I think that I am coming around to 300 blackout because of my experience with short-barreled 7.62s not being fantastically accurate, and I know like crinks can be pretty accurate and whatnot, but I had no problem making hits with this gun at 200 yards with the supersonic ammo. So I think the ability to have different loads for different purposes is slowly bringing me around to be a 300 blackout fan, and it's this gun specifically, the Honeybadger right here. So what does that mean? Am I becoming a Q fanboy? Definitely not. This is an expensive gun. There are guns that do similar things for substantially less, but this is a very well-made gun, and this is going to be in my backpack for sure because A, it's cool, and B, I'm confident in shooting this and making some decent long-range shots. So Q Honeybadger, expensive, but definitely worth the money in my opinion.